Oma Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Nena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I'm really, really thrilled to be here with all of you today. And the next program, called SOS_Seattle, which the technical crew is just pulling up for us. Book distribution is fun and easy. So, how much time do we have, Nanda, so I have an idea?
Prabhu, you are the controller of time here.
Okay. It's new to me. Okay, so here's the menu for the presentation this morning. We're going to talk about the legacy, 4 laws of book distribution, monthly Sankirtan festival, and then I'm going to teach you an infallible method for selling a Bhagavad-gita or any other book. And I guarantee it, that once I teach you this method for selling a Bhagavad-gita, you'll be able to sell a Bhagavad-gita to anyone, anywhere, at any time, guaranteed. Or I'll give you your money back from this presentation. Okay, so Sampradaya means the complete gift. We're being given that which fulfills the innermost desire of the soul, called Abhishtadoham. Caitanya Mahaprabhu was glorified by Karabhajana Muni as giving the Abhishtadoham, that everyone's looking for something. Otherwise, they were not moving around so much in this material world. They're going from place to place, trying to find something that will satisfy their soul. So Karabhajana Muni says that Caitanya Mahaprabhu is giving that thing. Deyam sada paribhavagnam abhishtadoham. It satisfies all of one's desires and it frees one from all the embarrassment of this material life. And it's fit to be practiced anywhere. It means Deyam sada, anywhere, anytime, any place. Just as mentioned in the Chapter Shloki Bhagavatam. Etavadi vijgnasam tat vijgnasudatmanaha. Anvaya vyatarekapyam yasyat sarvata sarvata. Lord Krishna told Brahma that one must inquire into the absolute truth in all times, in all places, in all circumstances. And Srila Jiva Goswami says that this process of devotional service, especially in the age of Kali, the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, that which is being passed down to us from the Sampradaya, is that which can be practiced at all times, in all places, in all circumstances. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu makes no distinctions who he gives it to. So Sampradaya means the complete gift. That's the meaning of the word. What does Sampradaya mean?
Complete gift.
Yes, and this is our business in life, actually, is to... Oh. Technical team? Why is this not working? Don't click. So actually, our movement is based on this gift giving. You'll notice in the Upadeshamrita, the verse which is given by Rupa Goswami, Dadati Pratigranati. Who knows this verse? Who knows Dadati Pratigranati? Kuyam Akyati Prakshiti Vinte Bhojayate Chaiva Shadvidam Pratilakshana. What does that mean?
6 ways to exchange.
6 ways to exchange love between one devotee and another. But it's not just between one devotee and another. Prabhupada says in the purport that this is between the people we meet everywhere. So if someone walks in the building here, we want to engage them in these 6 exchanges of love. And when we go out onto the street to meet people, we're also engaging in these 6 loving exchanges. And Prabhupada said this is how the Krishna consciousness movement has started and expanded. We give prasad, we give katha, we give books, we give gifts. People give what they can in return out of reciprocation of love. They appreciate. So this is our only business, is gift giving and passing on the great gifts that are coming to us from the Sampradaya. So Advaita Acharya started this. He saw a great need in society for helping people who are suffering. This is compassion. Actually, to show compassion to others is the requirement for this Sankirtan. Going outside, and you may think, oh, you know, what if somebody refuses me? What if they're not interested? What if they can't appreciate it? Of course they can't. Nobody can appreciate in the beginning what is Krishna consciousness. But somebody, somewhere, has to show compassion and approach and intervene in somebody's life and give them an opportunity to start. So that's what Advaita Acharya did for everybody. And he prayed, let there be a renaissance in this process of Krishna consciousness. And he saw that the people were so fallen in that age and in the environment he was in, that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that Krishna would have to come himself to spread Krishna consciousness. So as you know, he discovered this verse that if you offer a little Ganga water and some tulsi leaf to Krishna, he becomes so indebted that he sells himself to the devotee. And then he called out, Krishna, please come. You have to come and say. This is the whole method of book distribution. You don't have to know any technical thing. You just have to know, I want to give something to people. I don't know how to do it. And you have to call out. And he said, please help me. That's what Prabhupada did when he came to America on the Jaladuta. He said, I don't know how I'm going to get them to take this because they're so fallen. How will they understand and appreciate the Bhagavatam in this country? He said, Krishna, please help me. Make them dance. Make me empowered to spread Krishna consciousness. So this is the prayer a book distributor says every time he or she walks out the door. Please empower me and please give me the words to speak. And every day it's a new experience. There's never a point at which they say, okay, I've got it now. I know exactly what to do. Anything can happen. So this is why book distribution is very powerful. We have to follow in the footsteps of Advaita Acharya. And what happened? Because of his fervent prayers, Krishna appeared. Here's Lord Chaitanya appearing in Navadvip, this picture from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. And he inaugurated this chanting of the Hare Krishna, even mantra, even at the time when he was being born during the eclipse of the moon. Everyone was out chanting, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Hare. So we want to get everyone in Seattle chanting, Hare Hare, Hare Hare. That'd be nice. Now here's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's program. He taught two things. One thing is, chant Hare Krishna. Second thing is, first thing is, second thing is, first thing is, second thing is, second thing is, first thing is, first thing is, second thing is, second thing is, first thing is. So if someone asks you after the seminar, that grabs you by the arm and says, what was that guy talking about up there? You'll say,
First thing is
chant Hare Krishna, second thing is
chant Hare Krishna, teach others. It's a very simple movement, actually. It's meant to chant Hare Krishna and teach others how to chant Hare Krishna. And if you confine yourself to this idea, this mission, how can I get more people to chant Hare Krishna? And how can I teach others? And how can I get them to teach others? So it will spread all over Seattle, all over Washington, all over the United States. Get everyone chanting. That's the simple mission. So, not only that, they opened a marketplace. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda opened the marketplace of the holy name. Marketing is a little more in-depth. It means you have to think about your product. How to make it benefits-based. How to make it easy for people to take the product and so forth. So they were really thinking how to market the product everywhere. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's idea was that it should go to every town and village. That was the scope. Now you'll see here, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates dancing down the street of Miami, Florida. It's nice, right? And this is something we see today. Down 5th Avenue. Which avenue do you go down here?
University District.
University Street. Everywhere in the world now, the chanting is going on. But we've only touched a few people in the world's population. We need to expand more and more. So at one point, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement became hidden. After he left, and after the Panchatattva left this world, then, as usually happens, the message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the message of Krishna, over time it becomes distorted, it becomes diminished, until it's almost not visible at all. And so, Bhaktivinoda Thakura in 1891, several hundred years after the appearance of Bhaktivinoda Thakura, restarted the Krishna consciousness movement as inaugurated by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He discovered a copy of the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. At the time, Bhaktivinoda Thakura was among the top intellectuals in society. And many of the Indian intellectuals had turned away from the Vedic teachings, from Srimad Bhagavatam and so forth, partly because of the fault of the British. who came there and did their best to dissuade everyone from taking part in this culture. They taught that Krishna and the Bhagavatam was immoral, dancing with girls in the middle of the night and so forth. You guys really worship all kinds of animal forms, anthropomorphism, zoomorphism, all these ideas they were propagating to undermine the culture of Krishna consciousness all over India. And it was having its effect. And Bhaktivinoda Thakura was among those intellectuals. He was discussing with a group called Brahmo, who promoted Brahmoism, which was kind of a combination of Mayavada personalism and then some Christianity and some other ideas and so forth. Bhaktivinoda Thakura then came out with the Caitanya Charitamrita after he discovered the universal teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and then said, this is the world religion, the thing to spread all over the world. His contemporaries were surprised. But he renewed this marketplace of the holy name and came up with an idea how the holy name could actually be spread to every town and village. And of course he had a system through which there were brokers and there were salespeople in the marketplace of the holy name. You know what position he took in the marketplace scheme? He wrote a whole book about it. That's what our Namhatas are based on nowadays. What was Bhaktivinoda Thakura's position in the whole marketplace of the holy name scheme? He was the sweeper. That's right. He put himself as the sweeper of the marketplace. He would come and sweep up after everybody. So at Surabi Kuj, the marketplace is now open. Bhaktivinoda Thakura declared it opened again and began sending books across the ocean. He sent to McGill University in Canada, and he also sent books to Thoreau, Emerson, and other intellectuals all over the world. He was eager for the teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to get out to the smart people of the world so they could read it and take up this process, right? So Bhaktivinoda Thakura was like Advaitacharya, hoping for someone to come to assist him, to help spread the Krishna conscious movement. So he prayed, let there be an empowered representative in my family who can actually spread the Krishna conscious movement. As he said, a ray of Vishnu. Let a ray of Vishnu come into my family who can help spread this message. And of course we know Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakur was an answer to his prayers. He also predicted that a personality will soon appear who will spread Krishna consciousness all over the world. And we can see now, Srila Prabhupada was that empowered representative who came in succession after Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakur. In the meantime, there were pure devotees who were chanting the Shuddhanam and who were immersed in the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, like Gaura Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, who was the spiritual master of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who then spread the marketplace all over India. That same marketplace that went out to many, many villages. Now he started the glorious Gaudiya Math, which was very successful. It went all over India, establishing hundreds of little mutts, and some of them big mutts, and publishing like anything. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur established a printing press and called it the Brihat Madanga. In fact, on the logo for the Gaudiya Math, he included a picture of the printing press, and just above that is the words Rag Marg, the spontaneous path of devotional service, Rag Marg. And printing, he said, this printing press is completely transcendental. It's like this Madanga drum, only it's much louder. It can go all over the world, the written word. What this is called literary kirtan. Prabhupada wrote books, and he put his bhajan into the books, and when it's distributed, that's the loudest kind of kirtan. It's Nagar kirtan times 1,000 times 10,000, so it can be heard all over the world. Books penetrate places that the Harinam kirtan cannot penetrate. So all over India, Burma, and then he sent a delegation to England in order to spread Krishna consciousness. They came back after a few years and not very successful. Our Srila Prabhupada said later on that in their hearts they didn't really have this intense desire to spread it. That's required. And they didn't have that. So, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur gave this instruction to Abhay Charananavinda, his disciple, who later became A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, in Radhakund, soon before Srila Bhaktisiddhanta left the planet. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta told Prabhupada that if you ever get money, print books. And he also said, do this publishing and spread to the Western countries. So Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada said, I took this instruction up from his mouth that he is very fond of books. And then he spread that marketplace all over the world. So you'll notice here that this is a pamphlet that Prabhupada had when he had the first 3 volumes of the Bhagavatam. And on the pamphlet, he says 60 volumes of elaborate English version. 60. Right then he had 3. And he also said, all over the world for scientific knowledge of God. This was at a time he had no money, he had no connections anywhere in the world, but he's saying 60 volumes and all over the world. This was his idea. He was always thinking big like this. So whatever situation we're in, we can follow in Prabhupada's footsteps and think that this is meant to be spread all over the world. So this is the way to inject Krishna consciousness into society. When people read books, they then begin to formulate their ideas about how to live and how to conduct society and so forth. In America, Thomas Paine in 1775 wrote a pamphlet called Common Sense. And according to historians, this pamphlet, which was distributed to millions of people all over America, was what started the American Revolution. It's a very well-written pamphlet. You can read it. It's on the internet. But this is what historians say actually got people galvanized to start the revolution. And in Cuba, Fidel Castro, while in prison, he wrote his ideas down on paper using lime juice. Why lime juice? Kids, why did he write on lime juice, with lime juice on paper? You don't know the secret?
To keep it for a long, long time.
When you write with lime juice, it's invisible. And when you take it out and put it in the sun, then the lime juice darkens, and then you can see what was written. So he was in jail, and he secretly wrote these things on paper, and then his fiancée would come to visit him, and he'd give her what would look like big blank pieces of paper. He'd take them out, she'd put them in the sun, reconstitute them, and then she made it into a book, and she distributed it to the masses, and that's what started the revolution in Cuba. And right after Fidel Castro got out of prison, he was able to ascend to his power position. Yeah. So the written word, the pen is mightier than the sword. Now you'll find also in many countries where there's tyranny, where there's despots who take over the country, one of the first things they do is burn books. Because from books people get inspiration, they get direction, they're able to form groups. Like we have our group, it's based around Prabhupada's teachings that are in his books. If we didn't have those books, we'd have a tough time having a cohesive organization. So we can see from this the power of books, and therefore Prabhupada said, print as many books in as many languages and distribute throughout the whole world. The communists at the time, another example Prabhupada gave, were very successful at spreading this communism because they were distributing so many literatures. So Prabhupada urged that in the same way that they're expert at distributing thousands and thousands of literatures, he said we should similarly be raining down these books like bombs from the sky during wartime, like anything. Now, here's a couple organizations that are doing way better than us as far as literature distribution. These are the Jehovah's Witnesses. Watchtower magazine. They're in 239 countries, 595 languages for the Watchtower, and they're distributing 46 million copies a month. Do you know how many copies you're doing here? A month? Back to Godhead magazine?
We're trying to increase, but probably 40 so far.
40. So we got about 1 million times more to go. And we'll show how that can be done at any time, can increase. Holy Bible. Anybody heard of this book?
Gideon.
You seen it around anywhere?
Motels.
You've seen it in a motel, okay. Well, it just so happens the Gideon Bible Society is in 196 countries, 93 languages they have the Bible in. They have, in 2012, 84.6 million copies of the Bhagavad-gita, of the Bible. And by 2015, they're going to have distributed 2 billion copies of the Bible around the world. What do you think?
It's huge.
We need to catch up? We need to catch up, Nanda?
How many books BBT has distributed in your estimation?
No estimation. We have the figures. I can show you. They're not in this category.
They're not.
Also, here's Time magazine. And Prabhupada said he wanted his Bhakti-Vedanta magazine and other literatures distributed like Time or Newsweek or others like that. Their circulation 2012, 3 million copies. So we have a ways to go. These other organizations were just like us. They started at a certain time. They came up with they have their literatures and so forth. Nothing compares to our literature. You can't compare Watchtower or the Bible to the Srimad Bhagavatam. I mean, you can, but they're paltry in comparison. They have basic ideas, a few basic ideas about spirituality and religiousness, but the Bhagavatam is the pinnacle of all books, not just amongst books of the world, amongst all the books of the Vedas. It's the fruit of all the Vedic literature. So we have very important tasks to do. Why should people get all these other things and not see the Srimad Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad-gita? This is our work. So Prabhupada said, kindly help me. This is my request. His idea was to have massive distribution. Not that we do a little bit here and there as a hobby, but that like these other organizations, more than these other organizations that are distributing millions and billions of copies, I guarantee you his scope was that big for the distribution of his sets of books like the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Caitanya Charitamrita, and the Bhagavad-gita. Do you believe me?
Yes.
Yes or yes?
Yes.
Thank you. So he asked us, all of us, to vigorously work for this book distribution. And when one does this, one becomes very dear to Krishna, because Krishna in the Bhagavad-gita says, there's no one in this world more dear to me than the person who spreads my message. In and of itself, that is impetus to go out and distribute Bhagavad-gita. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked us to become qualified. He said, become an advanced person, become heavy with spiritual knowledge, become a guru, and then go out and distribute it to others. So all of the great acharyas, Krishna himself, are saying, go out, distribute to other people. Take this upon yourself. You don't have to be prolific, but you just have to try. Do the best you can. So this is the direct order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the direct order of the Lord is a manifestation of his internal potency. And it is by this particular potency that one comes to see the Lord face to face. So the point is that the way we come to see Krishna face to face is by taking up the order that comes down to us. And that order is to spread the Sankirtan movement. Prabhupada said, by this effort of distributing books, just going out and trying, you'll get superior strength and knowledge in Krishna consciousness. Therefore we say, it's a rapid way. Book distribution is a rapid way to make spiritual advancement. Now, here are the 4 laws of book distribution. You write these down, memorize them, because if you follow these 4 simple laws of book distribution, Nanda Sutta Prabhu is going to write it down.
Yes, I'm typing.
And when you follow these 4 laws of book distribution, you will double, triple, quadruple, quintuple. You will exponentially expand your own book distribution and the book distribution of the Seattle ISKCON. Do you believe me?
Yes.
Yes or yes?
Yes.
Okay. Are you ready for the 4 laws of book distribution that will change your life forever?
Yes.
Okay? Here they are. Let's read them together. Number 1.
Sadhana must be strong.
Number 2.
Must get
Number 3.
the more you show, the more
That's one we always say twice.
the more you show, the more you
And number 4.
you must not.
These are the 4 laws of book distribution. Now, first one is what? Your sadhana must be strong. Your sadhana should be strict, serious, and sincere. Prabhupada used these 3 words in various places. I put them together in one sutra. Strict, serious, and sincere sadhana means you pay attention when you're doing your sadhana, and you make sure that you do it every day. And when you do that, you'll get a taste. Even a poppy seed worth of taste for the chanting Hare Krishna, for reading Srimad Bhagavatam is enough so that you can control your senses. so that you actually have enough so that you have what we call overflow. That means you can distribute Krishna consciousness, one person with a little taste, poppy seed worth of taste for the process of chanting Hare Krishna and reading Srimad Bhagavatam, could spread Krishna consciousness to everyone in Seattle. Actually, to everyone in the entire state of Washington. Actually, to the entire continent of North America, with one poppy seed worth of taste for chanting Hare Krishna and reading Srimad Bhagavatam. No, to the whole world. One person with a tiny taste for chanting Hare Krishna and reading Srimad Bhagavatam could achieve this. Therefore, here's a couple ideas for enhancing your daily sadhana. Would you like to see them?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so here's one. Chapter a day of Bhagavad-gita. Here's a couple things Prabhupada said about reciting at least one chapter a day of Bhagavad-gita. That means the Sanskrit or the English, or the Sanskrit and the English. Of course, we have to read the purports also, but every day we should touch base with the Bhagavad-gita and read at least one chapter. Bhagavad-gita as it is should be read by all my students at least one chapter a day. Please encourage the others to read this Bhagavad-gita at least one chapter a day. Prabhupada used to do this. You can hear his recordings. He would go through and chant all the verses. How long does it take?
10 minutes.
Chapter 15, how long does it take? 4.5 minutes.
4.5 minutes.
Chapter 12, how long does it take?
Probably 5.
About 4 minutes.
Yeah.
4 minutes out of 24 hours. You can do this. Even the longest chapters, maximum, they take about 10 minutes to chant the Sanskrit all the way through. And if you repeat it every single day, you'll become proficient in chanting the chapters of the Bhagavad Gita. Therefore, we invite you to join Chad. Here, I'll give you an invitation.
We have a chat group going here.
You have a Chad group going.
Lunchtime, 12 to 1 o'clock.
Where does your Chad group meet?
On
On
phone.
the phone conference.
That's beautiful.
You came and spoke to us also.
Oh, really? Here. For more information about what Prabhupada said and so forth, a Chad card for you. Are you all chanting one chapter of Bhagavad Gita a day? How many are chanting one chapter of Bhagavad Gita a day? 1, 2, 3. Who'd like to join Chad and start today reading one chapter of Bhagavad Gita a day? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Okay, we'll start later on today. We'll chant one chapter, and then you can just continue from there. Here's another point. Be a sage page by page. Sometimes people look at Prabhupada's books and they say, that's too much. How am I going to read all that? Have you ever thought like that? How am I going to finish all these books? Well, I'll give you a practical way to do it. Here's a little chart for you called Be a Sage Page by Page. And on this chart, there's a list of Prabhupada's main books, starting with Sri Upanishad, ending with Caitanya Charitamrita. You see that on the left? And then across the top, you'll see 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. Do you all see that? And then you'll notice that where the intersection is, it tells you how many pages you have to read each day in order to complete each one of these books in these various amounts of time. So look at the first example, Sri Upanishad. To read the whole Sri Upanishad in 1 month, how many pages do you have to read each day? 5 pages. If you want to read it in 6 months, how many pages?
1 page.
Srimad Bhagavatam, if you want to complete Srimad Bhagavatam in 1 month, how many pages do you have to read a day? That means you better call in sick, right? Like Sanatana Goswami. He called in sick, he said, I can't come in, I'm sick. And then when the Qazi sent the doctor to his house, he looked in there and there was about 30 Brahmins and they were all reading Bhagavatam. So he went back to his boss and he said, he's not sick, he's reading Bhagavatam. So if you're going to read the whole Bhagavatam in 1 year, how many pages do you have to read every day?
21.
Correct. And in 5 years?
Don't.
Is that doable?
Yes.
4 minutes to 10 minutes on one chapter of Bhagavad-gita a day, and to complete the whole Bhagavatam in 5 years? Now let me ask you a question. Are you going to be 5 years, are you going to be 5 years older in 5 years anyway?
Yes.
Yes.
So why not do 8 pages a day? And you could say in 5 years, I just finished the whole Bhagavatam.
Yeah.
8 pages a day. How long does that take you? About 10 minutes. 10 minutes, that's it. So that's all for this steady sadhana. Yes?
Prabhu, does include the purports too, I guess.
Yeah. This includes the purports too. Yeah. With the Bhagavad-gita, it's a matter of reading one chapter a day, at least chanting the Sanskrit or the English. And we recommend that you read the purports of the Gita also. Yeah.
When we read one purport a day.
And one purport a day, that's nice.
Yes,
On the
same.
chat group?
Yeah.
Very good. Nice. Yeah, so these are just devices, but a way to stay in contact with the very basics of hearing and chanting every day. This is the basis of book distribution, because you have to have this constant contact with the books and actually getting some rus, some real experience from reading them, some feeling for them. And then when you distribute them, naturally you'll pour out your heart to people. So what's the first law of book distribution?
Strong
Your sadhana must be strong. Let's say it all together. So number one law of book distribution is? Okay, here's number two. Number two is you must get books. Please say it.
You must get books.
This is the second law of book distribution. Now in the military, where they ask you to say things, for this number two, we will try this. In the military, when they ask you a question, you say, "Sir, yes, sir."
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Right? So when we ask you, what is the number two law of book distribution? You say, "Get books."
Get books.
Okay, so when Hari Vilas Prabhu comes in and we ask you all, what is the number two law of book distribution? You say,
Get books.
Right, a little more. 1, 2, 3.
Get books.
Right. So this is number two, and here's the reason. Because you can't distribute books you don't have. It's physically impossible to distribute the books that you don't have. And we've experimented with this everywhere we've gone to see if you can distribute books when you don't have any. And we've conclusively, scientifically, seen that it is impossible to distribute books you don't have. And this is an interesting point because we can't take these books for granted. In Lord Chaitanya's time, books were written on palm leaves. And it took a scribe many weeks to write one book. It had to be done painstakingly, can you imagine? Without making any mistakes. Otherwise you have to start over again on each palm leaf. And the palm leaves were touched with a stylus, and then the palm leaf was put in the sun, and once the sun touched it, the place that was touched with the stylus would change color, then they'd have to bind it all together. And these were the books that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu picked up, like the Brahma Samhita and the Sri Krishna Karnamrita, which he distributed to his favorite devotees, and he had to have those copied. And he didn't have Nanda Sutta to take him to at the mailboxes, etc., or Kinko's or anything like that. So the very fact that we have a plenitude of books nowadays is a miracle. It's a product of this window of opportunity we have through technology to actually have books in written form in mass quantity. So don't take it for granted and just think, oh, those are just books. Books are everywhere. I see them, everywhere. So it's not an important thing. It is important. You should have books. In fact, one time Prabhupada wrote a letter to Rameshwar, and he said that there should be so many books in our centers that there's barely a place for anyone to sleep. And that actually happened when we were in traveling Sankirtan. Actually, our party was, we used to be embedded in various temples for a year or 2 years, things like that. And in Denver, Colorado, we had our own room, that is the BBT party, and we had to load books in there. And then the temple president, called the structural engineer, told us we better distribute them fast because the floor was going to cave in. We had so many books. We had no place to sleep because so many books. So you get books, you can take them to your house. We could fit in Nanda Sutta Prabhu's house probably the whole BBT warehouse and more. And that could be the Sankirtan Central. So when you get books, there's a way in which you'll be inspired to distribute them to other people because they're there, they're present, and you'll take them. So keep them in your house, keep them in your car, keep them in your bag, When I travel, I always have a few books. I put them in a Ziploc bag and put them into my carry-on luggage. And inevitably, someone will look at me and say, what's the thing on your face? What are you doing? So forth. And you'll have a book to take out and distribute. If you're going to the store, don't go empty-handed. Take one book with you at least. Because the difference between going empty-handed and going with a book is dramatic. When you go with a book and you think, I have to distribute at least one book today on my way to buy some almonds for almond milk, then your whole perspective in life will change. How will I distribute this one book? Who will I give it to? So get books. Now, look at these books. Prabhupada, earlier we heard said, distributed books in as many languages, not just English, but look at these languages. Here's Bhagavad-gita in Japanese, Vietnamese, Arabic, Farsi, and many more we have available. How many different ethnicities do you have here in the Seattle area? How many languages do people speak, approximately?
Everything in the world, I would say.
Like, name 5. Name the top 5. Chinese, otherwise known as Mandarin.
Spanish.
Spanish. Korean. Vietnamese.
Hindi.
And Hindi.
Arabic.
And Arabic. Okay, so there's 6. Now, what if you were to get all those language books here? And then one day go out, for instance, do you have a Vietnam town here?
Yeah. Vietnam.
So we went to Vietnam town in Southern California, and also we did it when we went to Washington, D.C., right? Yeah, in Washington, D.C., we went around with Vietnamese books in Vietnam town. And what do you think they thought of us for distributing books in their own language?
Amazing.
They were so happy to see us. They invited us in to their shops. Some people wrote checks for $100. You see, they have Buddha up inside. And they see you come in like this. We walk into the shop like this before we walk in. And then they know. They have a culture there. They have a culture. You come in, you're a monk, and then even the people are about to say, no, I'm not interested. You show them the book, and they see it's in Vietnamese, they just melt. And they'll give you a donation. People, here's a secret for you. Those Spanish-speaking people, they always take a book, always. And they always give a donation. Over my 40 years of distributing books and to tens of thousands of Spanish-speaking people, I can only remember maybe once or twice that a person didn't take a book and give a donation. So if you have books in Spanish and you go to a Spanish area, or you just have to meet a Spanish-speaking person and you give them a book in Spanish and just say, pedimos una ayuda, por favor, please give a little offering, they'll immediately give. Say, es bueno libro de Dios, this is about God, that's all you have to say, give a donation. They'll immediately give because they're so pious. So these language books are very important. They're now being printed in America. And they'll be easy to ship, and they're very inexpensive, so you should stock your warehouse. So when you go out for book distribution, you should have a few in each language. I recommend putting them in a Ziploc bag. Take a couple in each language. When you go door to door to distribute books, which we will today, later today we'll go door to door, right, Nanda Sutta?
Yes, bro.
Okay. And here, look at this at the Vietnamese town in San Jose. And this is a Starbucks coffee. I sat down with these fellows who are having a little coffee, and I showed him this book, and you see he's holding it in his hand. I'm sitting on the left, he's sitting on the right, and his friends are sitting around. So I just sat down and I told them what we're doing. And now here's how you say, I don't speak Vietnamese. Now what do you do? Anybody here have a smartphone?
Yes.
Raise your hand if you have a smartphone. Okay, if you didn't raise your hand, go get one. Today you can stop by Apple or somewhere. On your smartphone, you can call up Google Translate. You can write anything you like, and then just push translate into a certain language, and it'll put it right on the screen for you. So whenever you go out on book distribution, you meet somebody who speaks Cantonese, you meet somebody who speaks Vietnamese, you just have a couple lines, say books on meditation, yoga, we ask for a donation, that's all you have to say. And then hand them the book, show them your smartphone. If you don't have one, you can just print it out and carry it as a card in your pocket and just show them, and they'll take it. Yes, Mataji.
How would we figure out that which language they speak? If we
You can ask them.
We usually talk to them, everybody in English.
Yeah, talk to somebody in English, and one thing is, if you go to Vietnam town, pretty high percentage there. But if you meet somebody on the street, you have to get good at realizing. Some people can't tell the difference between somebody who's from China, Korea, or Japan. But after you practice a little bit, you'll get to know. Can you tell the difference between somebody from Kerala and Gujarat by looking at them?
Yes.
I can tell the difference between somebody from Korea and Japan just by looking at it, because I'm used to talking to them. I know the culture, I know how they dress. And if I hear one word from either one of them, I can understand. So it's something you have to pick up. But one thing you can do is when you meet somebody and you're not sure, and maybe they're bilingual, you'll say, don't say, are you from such and such? Because if you guess wrong, they get offended. So the way to ask is you say, how many languages can you speak? And they'll say 3. They say, okay, what are they? I'll say English, and then what else? And they'll say Korean. And then you can say, Vasiesika, or whatever. You learn a few words in each language, right? And then if they say, I speak Mandarin, then ni hao. All you have to know is that 1 or 2 words in each language, that's the prominent language you're meeting people, and they'll become impressed. So you ask them that question, and you can show them the book in their language. They'll very much appreciate it. Here's a Farsi speaking, and this is a Muslim mullah from Afghanistan. And I met him at one of these open market, what do they call those markets? Weekend markets?
Flea market.
Not a flea market, you know where they sell green stuff? Farmer's market. We had a little table there, I was distributing, and I saw him there. I said, Salam alaikum, alaikum salam, madava kifilak, alhamdulillah, Allahu Akbar, mabsut. And he said, you believe in Allah? I said, of course. He said, you bow, you pray 5 times a day? I said, 16 times. And he came over and he gave me a big hug. And he really liked me. And I gave him this book. You see, he's holding a book in Farsi. That little pink book, Easy Journey to Other Planets, it's in Farsi. And he was so excited to get a book in his own language. He said, where's all the other Farsi books? I went on, and he stayed around. He was my best friend. And you know what? Right now, that little book is somewhere in Afghanistan. That's the power of book distribution. He was on his way back to Afghanistan. He packed that in his bag. It's sitting somewhere in Afghanistan. That could bring a whole country down. One book can actually convert a whole country. It's so powerful, the vibration from these books. So get these books in other languages. What's number 2?
Get books.
Okay, let's try it again. The number 2 law of book distribution is?
Get books!
Right. Okay, number 3, we always say it twice. Number 2 is the one we say like military. But number 3, we always just repeat twice. So what is number 3?
The more you show, the more you sell. The more you show, the more you sell.
Good. So whenever you see this one, say it twice because it's so important. And here's the key to book distribution. You just have to show the books. Now, you know why Google made so much money so fast? You know how much money they have?
I think $60 billion sitting in the bank.
That's all? Just 60 billion? You know where that came from? Advertising. It comes from advertising. Those stupid little advertisements they put all over the internet through the Google. That's how they made all their cash flow. I know that because I was at Google the other day and one of the devotees who works there was telling me. And you know why it's so valuable, the advertising? Because little jivas wandering around the world looking for something. Every little jiva is wandering around saying, what can I get? What can I get? What can I get? I want something. And so advertisers, they put stuff up all the time. They say, drink Coca-Cola. And so little jiva thinks, drink Coca-Cola? Drink Coca-Cola? So Coca-Cola says, open a bottle of happiness. That's their new ad. Open a bottle of happiness. And every cell in the body of little jiva is saying, take a carrot, don't drink the Coca-Cola. I don't want Coca-Cola, I want a carrot. And little jiva says, no, but I saw the thing. It said, open a bottle of happiness. So what does little jiva do? He goes and buys Coca-Cola, and he drinks the Coca-Cola, and all the cells are going, no, no, not Coca-Cola, carrot. And so the more you show the Bhagavad-gita, when little jiva sees the Bhagavad-gita, and you say, no, no, jiva, take Bhagavad-gita. And you say, no, no Coca-Cola. You say, no, Bhagavad-gita. And then he'll go, okay, I'll take it. Because the tatastha jiva can be influenced anyway. That's what tatastha means. You're neither here nor there. You're floating around, loitering in the universe, just looking for next thing. And if some devotee comes up and goes, here, you should have the Bhagavad-gita. No, really, this is good for you. No, go take it away. I read the Bhagavad-gita. Everyone liked Bhagavad-gita. And then you take it. And then jiva, okay, I take the Bhagavad-gita. So if you just learn to show the books, you don't do anything else. Don't learn don't become expert at selling. Don't organize yourself. Don't do anything. Just show them more. Put them in your window. If you are at some devotees, when they go to work, they sit in those boring little cubicles like prison, and you put the Bhagavad-gita up on a little stand. One day someone's going to walk by and go, "Hey, where'd you get that?" And you say, "Oh, I give these out, and people give donations," and you'll sell a Bhagavad-gita. Jayananda Prabhu, one of the original great heroes of ISKCON, used to drive a cab for Prabhupada to help him pay for the temple. And every day when you drive a cab, you take teachings of Lord Caitanya, you put it on the back seat. And then when the fare would get in, they say, "Hey, there's a book on the seat." He said, "Yeah, take a look at it." He'd start telling him about the book, and before he'd get out, he'd buy the book.
Right.
And then he'd put another book on the seat. The next person get in, "Hey, there's a book on the seat." If he hadn't put a book on the seat, how many teachings of Lord Caitanya approximately would he have sold? Approximately. If he didn't put any TLCs on the seat, how many would he have sold?
Zero.
Approximately 0. So, if you work anywhere, walk anywhere, you have advertising space anywhere, if you simply make the books visible, you will sell them. Devotees down in South India now just started this Bhakti Mall. And they just put up a bunch of pictures of Prabhupada's books, explanations of them, put it out on the internet. Guess what? We're selling books like crazy. Anywhere you show, you will sell. And the more you show, the more you sell. Please say it one more time.
The more you show,
the more you sell. The more you show.
Now look at this. Here's our book racks. This is what they look like. You got something on them? Thank you. And this is downtown Santa Cruz. We set this book rack out. One devotee sits back there and just waits. And look at these young people come by all day long and they just start going through the books. You don't have to chase them. You don't have to, call them over or anything like that. You just put it out and sit back. They'll come over. "What's this?" And you just say, "Feel free to browse." And they'll start looking at the books, and then they'll ask a question, and they'll say, "How much is it?" And then you tell them how much it is. And next thing you know, they'll buy the books. The more you show, the more you sell. Events are fantastic places. I know you know many of these things. I'm just reiterating some of these things. Here's the Pumpkin Festival, where people come to celebrate Halloween and the autumn season and so forth. They did thousands of books there at this festival, Bhagavad-gitas. Maybe because the Gita is the same color as the pumpkin. I don't know. I just noticed that. Diwali events are good. Anywhere where there's a conglomeration of people, a congregation of people coming together, if you get permission to set up a table and you just show books, people will take them. Placement, Shastradhan is very powerful. People will donate very generously. And first of all, find the places where you're going to put them, and then ask for donations in that order. Here's the Smart Box, which has been wildly successful everywhere. In ISKCON Silicon Valley, around the Silicon Valley area, right now there's about 92 Smart Boxes. And these sit on counters in stores like convenience stores, restaurants, and boutiques. And people just come up, they take a book on the honor system, they put the money in the box, and the devotees go around and collect all the cash and then fill up the books. And we treat the store owners who keep these just like one of the members of the Sankirtan party, because they're facilitating Lord Chaitanya's movement in this way.
So what is the Shastradhan, the one before that?
Shastradhan? Shastradhan means that you ask people to donate money to place books. And you can put books in schools, hospitals, motels, and things like that. And they'll give liberally, because a lot of people really appreciate books. A lot of old ISKCON devotees, in fact, they won't give you anything. But if you say book distribution, they'll give it for that. And you just cultivate them, and on a monthly basis, you can get big donations for distributing books in various places. So Prabhupada said that he wanted every respectable person to have a full set of Bhagavatams and Chaitanya Charitamritas. And the greatest salesman in the world, Thomas Hopkins, once said, "Never sell individual units, always sell in bunches like bananas." Never sell individual units, always sell... Yeah. Never sell individual units, always sell... Yeah, so put the books together. Now I'm going to talk about set distribution. But there's ways to even bunch the sets together, and I'll show you that. But every book that we have goes well in a set. And I was in ISKCON Tirupati recently, and they're doing this in a very nice way. They actually buy these vinyl bags with a handle on them, and they put together sets of books, and they sell in sets. All the small books plus medium books, small, big, small, everything, and they have about 20 different combinations, and then they have it printed on the outside, what's in them. They actually have a price that's crossed out, and then they show the lower price, and then they sell like that. So any way that you can bunch the books together is powerful. Now, selling sets of Srimad Bhagavatam. How do you think you would sell a set of Srimad Bhagavatams, or sell multiple sets of Bhagavatams? This is a quiz. Yes?
So basically, we can have like, that this is a complete Indian knowledge, end-to-end holistic package, and like instead of $250, we're giving for $150. It's a huge sale. And then we can show pictures, one sample, the first one we can pick up any candle and just show the inside pictures and talk through them.
That's really nice. That's comprehensive. What laws would you be following if you did what you said?
So basically show and tell. I mean, the more you show, so we are showing the pictures, we are giving the demonstration. Then we are targeting that this is complete Vedic wisdom, considered depending on the people we are talking. And
plus you have the books too, right? So you're following at least 2 laws. And organizing. Very good. Thank you. What else?
You can show this is Krishna.
You can show this is Krishna. Okay. Well, I would say in a very simple way, just the more you show, the more you sell. If you show the Bhagavatam sets, and I see you have them out here, there must be something going on, right?
They were kept there so people can buy.
The more you show, the more you sell. So Bhagavatam sets, if you take them out and you show them to people, lo and behold, people will buy them. At Sunday programs, for instance, in Washington, D.C., about a year and a half ago, we were there, and we mentioned to the Sunday feast crowd the Bhagavatam. I just told the story of Shukadeva Goswami and Maharaj Pariksit, and I told them how important of a book it is. And then we gave an offer that they could take the book home. And in the temple room, we sold, how many in your kula? 45? 54? 54 sets of Bhagavatams in about 15 minutes. And why? Because we just brought it up, and we also had a table, we set it up, and we had the Bhagavatams out, and we had it decorated like an altar, and we just asked everyone to take the books. And we would go door to door in Silicon Valley. When somebody invites us in, we bring in the set with us, and we open it up, and we just start showing it to them. And do people take it?
Yes.
Yeah, we sold, almost last year, we sold about 300 sets going door to door. Just for bringing the set in and showing it to people. So, anywhere you go, you can sell sets of Bhagavatams in this Sri Caitanya Charitamrita, which is the most esoteric spiritual book in the world, and very, very few people even know about it. Even in the ISKCON movement, very few people know about the Sri Caitanya Charitamrita. Mataji?
When we go to Sankirtan, how is it possible to sell these in boxes? We can't even carry and...
You can carry the CC. If you can't carry it yourself, put it on a roller. You can get a roller to put it on, or bring a strong person along with you. You keep them in the car, nearby where you're distributing. And then you have always have a set on hand. Like when we go to an apartment complex, we'll make sure that we have the car parked nearby. And then when we need another set, we'll set out an SMS, and the devotee will run and get the set. And they're easy enough to carry and put at the bottom of the stairs. And when we need it, we'll run back down again. It's worth it to figure out how to carry it along. Because if you have the full set, they'll take it right then. The other day, Malini sold a set to a man in a running car. He came up to the window, knocked on the window, and showed the Bhagavad-gita. He said, "Yes, I have Bhagavad-gita." She said, "Then you should have the Bhagavatam." He said, "Oh, right, what is this Bhagavatam?" She told a little about it. And he said, "Okay, well, give me a card, and I'll come look at it." And she said, "No, we have it right here." She said, "How big is it?" And they showed him the box. He said, "Put it in my back seat." They put it in the back seat, and he ran his credit card on the square for $250. He drove away with the Bhagavatam right there.
Yeah.
So if you bring them along with the expectation, assume the sale, assume that you're going to sell it. Don't think, "Oh, if I carry it and then I don't sell it, I just carried this Bhagavatam set around." No, bring it. You'll see. If you bring them out everywhere, just assume that you're going to sell it, it'll happen. I was at the Rath Yatra in Los Angeles behind the booth with Vijay 3 years ago. And we had a whole set of Bhagavatams in the back. And every person that came up, he'd say, do you have the Gita? And he'd start showing the Gita. They'd say, have the Gita. He said, you should have the Bhagavatam. Over and over again. And everyone would say, no, no, that's all right. Oh, no, that's all right. Oh, no, that's all right. So I was thinking, how's he going to sell a Bhagavatam set? So I was over talking to some other person about a Bhagavad-gita. And about 10 minutes later, I turned around, the Bhagavatam set was gone. I said, Vijay, where's the Bhagavatam set? He said, I sold it. I said, how did you do that? I just kept pointing to it. The more you show, the more you sell. Don't think you won't sell them. You will. They'll sell if you show them. And you keep showing it over and over and over again, and just make sure that you have it. Here's a, yes?
Vijay Prabhu, in 1996, we had a Rath Yatra in a park, and he just came first time. And I was there organizing it also. He says, Prabhu, do you have a Bhagavatam set? This is like 9:30 in the morning, we are setting up. I said, I don't. I said, well, he said, you would like to get it? I said, yes. How much? 450. So I took out 450 and gave him 450.
You bought it.
And listen, what happened was, he was not happy because he says, now I don't have any other sets to show anybody. And I said, I want to put it in my car right away. I don't want it to get picked up or, somebody take it away and all. So it was very inspiring.
So you cost the temple about 10 sets of Bhagavatams. So you have to make up for it today. 10 cents. That's a nice story. So here's Exhibit A. This is Sri Krishna Purushottam on the right. That's me standing in the middle, and that's the family that just received a set of Bhagavatams in their home. And you see the red arrow pointing to the set of Bhagavatams? Yes, Mataji?
Prabhu, you have just started practicing distributing books like Bhagavad-gita and Science of Self-Realization. So would you advise that you continue practicing with these books or start with Bhagavatam also?
Who can stop you? If you decide to show haul off and show somebody a Bhagavatam set, what's the harm? If you can sell a Bhagavad-gita, you can sell a Bhagavatam set. It's the same thing. Pardon?
We do meet people saying that we already have Bhagavad-gita.
Give them the Bhagavatam.
Give them the Bhagavatam.
And one thing, when I go to door, when I meet Indians, I don't try to sell them a book right away. This is one thing I'll say. Because if I knock on the door and an Indian family opens and say, here, take the Bhagavad-gita, they'll go, what are you talking about? You're going to tell me about, I have Bhagavad-gita. I know Bhagavad-gita. I know all these things. Right? In fact, I met a man the other day. He came out, he was in his bathrobe, and he kind of came outside, he closed the door behind him, because I guess he did whatever was going on inside, and I started showing him, and he goes, I know everything. I said, you know everything? And I called the other devotees. I said, you got to get up here. But I just met somebody who knows everything. And we interviewed him. It wasn't quite accurate, but... so what I do, I knock on the door, and I just stand there and I talk to them. I say, how are you? Where are you from? What do you do? And stuff like that. And then they say, well, what do you want? And then I start telling them, we're teaching people Bhagavad-gita. I said, you already know Bhagavad-gita. You already have Bhagavad-gita, and your parents already have Bhagavad-gita. Everything they were about to tell me. And then I say, what we're doing is we're teaching the Bhagavad-gita to everybody. Hari Vilas Prabhu ki jai. Hare Krishna. And then I say, so then they say, well, what do you want? And they just say, we just want money. We're just asking for donations. And they're happy to do that. And if they invite us in, if we knock on the door and they say, please come in, because one out of maybe 15 doors you'll knock on, the people open the door and they say, they'll just look at me and say, please come in. So when we go in, we take in the Bhagavatam set, or the Caitanya Charitamrita. And then we just open it up and we explain, this is what the book is. We just talk about it. And then they'll say, like, how much is it? And we'll tell them. And a lot of times they'll just take it right there. And it makes a profound difference. Because, like this family, you see that Bhagavatam set there on the shelf that the red arrow is pointing to? They had a whole bunch of junk on that shelf. I mean, old hairbrushes and other books, this and that. And so to move the Bhagavatam set in, all the other stuff has to come out. And once it comes out, you know, they're making a statement in their home. People are going to walk in and say, what's that? And they're going to have to admit, I'm a Hare Krishna. I must be, because I've got a Bhagavatam set in my house. Here's Shraddha Devi Dasi. This is a Persian man who just bought a set of Chaitanya Charitamritas and already has them on the shelf. He was just an open-minded spiritual seeker. And going to the door, and he invited the devotees in, a few of them, and they just brought in the Chaitanya Charitamrita and started talking about who is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and how valuable these books are and how they were translated. You can tell anything from your own appreciation of the book. And the people, as we talked about before, from the overflow. Yes?
So, Prabhu, like we are on streets, we have a very short amount of time to talk to them. So what specific things we can tell about Bhagavatam, or which specific canto we can carry and show that we are talking about?
Well, generally with the Bhagavatam, we show when they invite us in, and then you have a lot of time. Because once they invite you in the door, it's like, you know, they're actually saying, I have time, please come in, unless they say, I don't have much time. And in which case, we just tell them, it depends. You have to judge how much time people have and then adjust what you tell them accordingly. And I'm going to tell you some very specific things you can say to sell books in just a few minutes. How to distribute full sets of Bhagavatam, you can go to this tiny URL. If you make a note of this URL, tinyurl.com//Srimad Bhagavatam-sell. And there's a lot on there about how to sell the Bhagavatam. And also, there's a recorded lecture, the one I told you about in Washington, D.C., I gave in the Sunday Feast program where they bought 54 sets of Bhagavatams in about 15 or 20 minutes. And what did I say to sell them? It's right there on that. And now here's, as we said earlier, never sell individual units, always sell in bunches like bananas. And so here it is, the perfectly complete library. So this library comes with the bookshelf, and it also comes 64 books, 388 lectures, thousands of hours of inspiration, Madanga, Kartals, you see Panchatattva picture on top, it's the complete everything, Tilak, everything, for about it's $1,008. Plus if they need some shipping. Otherwise, we install the whole thing right in their office, and as soon as you show this, people take it. We have one right in the temple where we put a plexiglass cover on it so it doesn't get disturbed or pilfered, and then we have a little advertising, and we just say, here's your complete set. You get everything all at once. $1,008, nothing. $1,008, nothing for this. Or you can charge more if you like. It's up to you. So this is an example of the more you show, the more you sell. Also in bunches like bananas. Yes? Yes. Is the Chaitanya Charitamrita, if you sell it a full set, isn't it too advanced? Yes, it may be too advanced for some people, though you can combine it with other books as well. Like give them Science of Self-Realization, Perfect Questions, Perfect Answers. Add that in so they can start with those reading. But when Prabhupada, right after the marathon, when the devotees printed all the Chaitanya Charitamritas in 2 months, and Rameshwar, who was the BBT trustee at the time, asked Prabhupada, so who are these for? And how many should we print? Prabhupada said, oh, they're for everyone. So they printed 20,000 sets to begin with, and they distributed them all. And we're finding actually that even devotees don't read Chaitanya Charitamrita that much because they think, oh, it's too advanced. But just recently, we read the first 7 chapters together in the temple. And when the devotees actually had an opportunity to hear Prabhupada's purports in that section of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, they were so overwhelmed with how sweet it was that it was read for the whole community. We sold a lot of sets of Chaitanya Charitamritas just based on the fact that people heard it and they said, I never knew this before. Even sometimes people, you know, who join the Krishna consciousness movements may still be wondering, is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu really Krishna? And so forth. You have to read Chaitanya Charitamrita to find that out, to hear how he's Krishna and so forth. It gives a lot of faith to the devotees. It's an important book to bring out and expose to the light of day and to show to people. So once the entire library goes in somebody's home, they become very quickly adjusted to the Siddhanta of Srila Prabhupada brought to them through these books, and they feel a part of the organization. And one of my suggestion is that lots of people come to ISKCON, and they want to know. They're sincere, and they look and they say, this is a really nice program. I want to be part of this. So there are ways that we say, here's how to be part of it. But one of the standard ways that we can tell people to be connected to ISKCON is to own a full set of Prabhupada's books. And once you have them in your book, you're a member. Like the Nichiren Shoshu Buddhists, the ones who chant Nam Myoho Shrenge Kyo, their initiation takes place when a priest comes to their house and they install an altar in their house that they're going to chant in front of. So we should also do that. When new people come and they say, I want to get closer. So what do? One of the things that we can tell them is own a full set of books. They'll be happy to do that, and it really helps when people take the books into their house. I won't go into all the benefits now because they're innumerable, but it is a fact that people become more devotional and more focused on Krishna consciousness when they accept the books. So, perfectly complete for life. These are ways to bunch the books together, and then the next program under this category of the more you show, the more you sell is Motel Gita, which so far to date is responsible for placing 200,000 Bhagavad-gitas in motel rooms. And it's an extremely popular program for Shastradana. When we went door to door a couple of years ago, we just showed a little video on the iPad or iPhone from a CBS interview we had where they asked us about the Motel Gita program. And about 10 seconds into the video, people would say, okay, how can I help? Especially Indian people who understand and love the Bhagavad-gita. You can do this around Gita Jayanti time and sell tens of thousands of Bhagavad-gitas to be placed in motels. There's the Gita right beside the Holy Bible. So what is the number 3 law of book distribution?
More you show, more you sell.
More you show, more you sell.
That's the one. The reason they said it twice, Hari Blas Prabhu, is because number 3 is so important that we always say it twice. The more you show, the more you sell. And number 4 law of book distribution is? You must organize. So you can sell a few books here and there if you just do it piecemeal or you don't think about it much. But if you use the kinds of organizing power that you use to organize your household, to organize other kinds of activities in your life that are important, and you make incremental improvements, you'll be able to incrementally increase the number of books you distribute every year from your organization. This is an interesting point. And when Prabhupada organized ISKCON, he gave 7 purposes. The 7th purpose of ISKCON says, with a view towards achieving aforementioned purposes, to publish and distribute periodicals, magazines, books, and other writings. Which means that the other 6 purposes would be achieved through this distribution of literature. And here's another important way, just in ways of organizing, plan ahead when you're going to have book distribution events and put them on the calendar ahead of time so they don't conflict with anything else. And there are millions of ways to organize. Having an actual concrete goal every year of how many books you're going to do is one of the most important. It's like flipping a switch. It's the difference between dark and light. As soon as you decide, this is how many I'm going to do. For instance, if you say, in any given temple in America, if we walked in, we had a meeting with the leaders in the temple, and they decided, this year we're going to distribute 200 sets of Srimad Bhagavatams in 2014. What do you think would happen after they ratified the goal? Say there's 7 members on the council and they said, we all agree to this, we vote on it. What do you think would happen right afterwards, 2 seconds after that ratification took place?
Start working towards it.
They would get in great anxiety. Some of them wouldn't sleep that night. And then they would start organizing. Immediately the brain turns on and starts saying, how am I going to do this? As soon as first you have to decide, I'm going to do it. Then the energy comes. Then the resources, everything comes. As soon as you say, I'm doing this, no matter what, you put yourself on the line and say, I'm making the goal, then it will come. So this is one of the most important organizing principles, is to decide what you're definitely going to do. and put yourself on the line and make the goal. And throughout North America, over the last several years, we've had a precipitous growth in book distribution because of some of these principles of deciding on goals and so forth. Like the North American GBCs and Temple Presidents a few years ago got together and said, for the year, we're going to increase book distribution by 20%. And as soon as they did that, then everything changed. Everyone started talking about how are we going to do this. And then they did it again the next year. And then again this year, we have more goals for book distribution in America. Do you know what they are? For North America, in 2014, the national goals?
1.5.
The goals are to increase overall by 10%, to distribute at least 1,500 sets of Srimad Bhagavatam, and distribute at least, and we always say at least before everything, 500 sets of Sri Caitanya Charitamrita. There's a few other goals, but those are the ones directly related to book distribution. What do you think? I was thinking just here in ISKCON Seattle, you could demolish the Bhagavatam set goal. Hari Vilas was shaking his head there.
We have set up a goal for me too.
Pardon me?
We also have goal here to set Bhagavatam sets.
Is that right? You have a certain number in your head right now?
Prabhuji has already shared it.
He shared it?
350.
He shared a number with me too, but I'm afraid to bring it up because it was such a high number, I'm not sure if that's like secret or not. But what is the goal for Bhagavatams here? Is it, or is it something like internal? 500 is the goal? That's amazing. That will be the shot heard around the world coming out of Seattle ISKCON, 500 sets of Bhagavatams. I mean, my hair's standing on end just hearing about it. That's exciting. Organized. I saw in Tirupati recently, their book room was the most organized. Well, actually, the whole temple seemed organized, but their book room was exemplary. They had everything was neat and tidy. Everything had categories. They had a system where you sign out for books. A little stamp goes on the clipboard that tells exactly where they went, when they went. They knew every week exactly what the inventory was and so forth. In Toronto, Canada, they don't allow shoes in the book room. They treat it like the sanctum sanctorum. You go in there, everything's perfectly laid out. All the books are taken care of like deities, and they have a system. So you can look at the book room and get an idea how organized you are. That's one of the places. Anyway, here's a picture of the very first book room we started in the garage of Rasika Shekhar Prabhu in his house because we had no space in the temple at all. So very proudly we labeled all the books and put them up. So if you use these to organize your book distribution incrementally every month, a little improvement, you can expand unlimitedly. Just pictures of organization, meaning how to improve everything, how to take contacts, and so forth. And also, it's important to report to the Sankirtan newsletter. It gives some energy to your local organization to make sure there's one person in charge of reporting to the North American Sankirtan newsletter. Because if you're on it, you'll start looking at it. And other people will notice it too. It inspires people. And actually, there's a letter from Prabhupada. I unearthed all these things when I was writing my book about Sankirtan. That Prabhupada wrote actually ordering everyone to read and contribute their scores to the Sankirtan newsletter, because he liked it very much. He read it himself. Yes,
the question is, I thought Sankirtan newsletter reports the order we put with the BBT. It's not the actual distribution, isn't it?
No, BBT newsletter reports the money you send in.
Okay.
And the North American Sankirtan newsletter reports the number of books by category and points according to each book. So if you're sending money to the BBT, you're automatically going to be on the BBT newsletter.
Yes.
And ultimately, at the end of the year, the real score is how much you did on the BBT newsletter, because money doesn't lie. Because how much Lakshmi you send in actually is the most important number, because you could distribute more pieces of literature. Of course, it's by a point system. But it's good to be on both of them and be aware of how the books are being tabulated and how you're doing in relationship with everyone else. Earlier, Hari Vilas Prabhu was showing the numbers from Watchtower, from the Jehovah's Witness, and also from Gideon's Bible and Time Magazine and so forth, and how They're in hundreds of countries and so many languages and doing millions, if not billions, of pieces of literature and so forth. Okay, monthly Sankirtan Festival is something that's been very successful everywhere. It thrives on teamwork, and it's fun outing, which involves everyone going out. I know you're doing this, going out. I'll just give an example that some temples, once a month, they set aside a time when the whole community goes out on the basis of a lot of devotees, each doing a little bit with no pressure on anybody, comes out to a huge result. And decide, set the goals, and then start. And when we take out the first party for book distribution, for instance, I train the devotees a simple method of selling the Bhagavad-gita, and then for the first outing I say, we're not going out to sell any books at all. No expectation of selling one book. Our only goal is to touch the pavement. That is, we've decided where we're going to go out to, and if we can get everyone from point A to point B successfully, which is the hardest part of book distribution, is troop movement. It's actually figuring out how to move everybody and the books from here to the place we're going. And once we get there and we reach out and we touch the pavement, I say, we're done for the day. You've accomplished your task, it's all finished. And now anything you do after this is extra. You can just experiment and don't feel any pressure at all. And when you take all the pressure off the devotees, no expectation to perform, they feel free to innovate and try different ways of distributing books and meeting people and making friends and so forth. Some of the mantras that we repeat for the monthly Sankirtan festival, our book distribution is high sadhana, and I talked about that earlier. Always better service, we're always looking each month how to improve it, and a lot doing a little bit is very successful. Principles are make it fun, use teamwork, create fresh challenges, encourage the heck out of everyone, and empower people. Here are a few photos from various teams around the world. You see here they have the book table set up. It's just, it makes a center from which they can go out from the table and meet people, and they feel authorized. They're there with the table on the street. Normally we'd have a morning program, have breakfast together, a little bit of training, and then go out for street Sankirtan for a few hours. And then nice to come back at lunchtime and hear from the devotees what happened, what were their experiences in distributing books and so forth. So start small and then grow. So now, a couple of reflections just from what we talked about so far. Then I'm just going to move quickly to the next part. Reflection means any one thing that you heard that stuck in your mind that you can use. We'll take 3.
The library.
The library. What about the library?
I think we have huge potential if we do it right. Within the congregation itself, we can.
What did you mean?
Gauranga Chandradas.
Gauranga Chandra Prabhu thinks that that you all have unlimited or huge potential here if you do it right to present the full sets and the complete library. That's your reflection. Thank you. That was.
We can put it on the website itself, on our temple website.
Okay. Very good. Yes, Mataji.
Prabhu, I have a question, and that is how can we motivate more devotees to join this distribution?
Well, one thing is start with those who are already motivated. You can start with 1 devotee, 2 devotees, better when it's 2. And go out and make it successful with a small group. Go with the willing to start with. And then advertise the success, because what actually stimulates everyone is when they hear what we call the GNAB, the Good News Action Broadcast, what actually happened. So we have times of ways in which we broadcast to the community these stories that come up when the devotees go on Sankirtan. They go out, they thought nothing was going to happen, they were nervous, they didn't want to do it anyway, they knocked on the door, and the guy said, Bhagavatam, I've been waiting for the Bhagavatam, where you been all my life? And they buy a Bhagavatam set. And if you let the devotees hear about these experiences, and they hear from the devotees who are doing it, and then you invite them to a fun event where there's no expectation for them to perform, and they can just come out and watch, they can be part of it in any way they like, then devotees will start to come out. Another thing we do is when we all go out together at the end of the day and in a picnic, or we'll do something like they did in Toronto. They rented a double-decker bus and everyone would rode around and did Harinam. And if you do fun things that bring the devotees together, then a lot of people want to be a part of it. It's just a happening thing. Fact is, book distribution is fun and easy. Yes?
There's a bit distinction between door-to-door and actually doing it on the streets.
Door-to-door on the street, what's the distinction? Well, door-to-door is easier. Easier because people feel in their own element. They're used to people coming door to door. And if you go around as a family, and it's sort of like you're going around just to make friends with people. And the whole mood, which I'll talk about in just a second, is we're ambassadors of goodwill. We're going out to make friends with people, to connect with them. And door to door is nice too, because you can go when it's raining. And everything's concentrated in one place. We generally go to these sort of middle class, working class, or student class apartments, and then we'll go in with several devotees, and we knock on the door, and when they open the door, we just say, "Hi, here's our card. We have an organization. We're going around just meeting people over the neighborhood, and how long have you lived here?" And just make friends with them. And we say, "Here, we're showing some of our books." And if they're friendly, they'll just have a look. And some of them say, "Please come in." And then you just talk about it. And in that way, we meet so many people. And after every time we go out for the door-to-door at the Sunday program, say we're out on Saturday, on the Sunday program, many people come and as guests afterwards because they've met personally the devotees in their homes and things like that. And on the street, it's also nice. It depends what street it is. But streets can be a little more difficult sometimes, a little bit more challenging, especially for new people. Yes?
So today's program is we will go to the Baha'i Center first.
Yes.
We will do some kirtan there and maybe some book distribution. And then we'll head out to the University District. Are you suggesting we do after the Baha'i Center, go do door-to-door or what's
Yeah, it would be nice if some of you would like to see it, at least just a sample of what it's like door-to-door. Because as soon as you see it, then you know what it is. And then you can say yes or no.
So we can go from Baha'i Center to the Telugu comments on all those apartments.
You just have to pick a place, and I'll take you out there and I'll show you what it's like, go to door, that it's fun. And you'll see people are open and friendly and everything like that.
Is it possible, Prabhuji, we can do it tomorrow? Because today we have planned for a street Sunday.
Yeah, sure.
Because we have prepared burritos and all.
Absolutely. You do whatever you like. It's a free program. It's an open program.
So the plan has already been set that today it would be University District. There is a farmers market there where Harlas Prabhu takes us every week. And we could continue that for today and tomorrow practice something.
Are we out of time now?
Yes, we should be heading out soon.
Okay.
Because we have to be there at 1 o'clock, around 1 o'clock.
Okay. Does that mean stop now? Okay. So I'll just tell you a preview of what's coming up tomorrow. And that is, these are tips that I'm just zipping past. We have time tomorrow too, right? Hari Vilas Prabhu? In the morning?
Tomorrow morning, same program. We'll have an early class and then head out to Fremont and other markets.
Okay, here's what I'm going to show you tomorrow. Is a step-by-step process for selling the Bhagavad-gita. And I told you at the beginning that I guarantee it that once you learn this system, and we actually brought in Bhagavad-gitas that are stacked right here, and where the devotees are going to stand up, and I'm going to show you, you're actually going to do it, one to the next. I'll show you the program first, and then it's a template. It's just one template. There's millions of templates, but this is one you can start with. And once you learn this template of how to sell a Bhagavad Gita to somebody, then you'll be able to do it anywhere and everywhere, and you'll always be successful, and I guarantee it, or your money back from these seminars. Very much. So thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in, and we'll go out on Sankirtan and meet some people and do Harinam Sankirtan, and we'll continue the training part of it tomorrow morning. Okay? Vancha Kalpatarupascha Kripasinabhya Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Premanande Adiyadigo.
Nachari Armarman, Nachari Armarman, Nachari Armarman, Nachari Armarman, hey, Nachari Armarman, Nachari Armarman, Nachari Armarman, Nachari Armarman.